Hello, in this video tutorial, we are going to be learning about how to create an annotated bibliography. The annotated bibliography is part of EDF 6211, Psychological Foundations of Education. For this course, you will need to come up with a research topic that fits within your area of interest in educational psychology. As a first step within this research paper topic, you will be creating an annotated bibliography. The annotated bibliography will involve conducting a literature search or library research regarding your chosen and approved topic. You will need to use the research databases that are provided by the USF library. In order to complete this annotated bibliography, you will first have to complete a set of library modules on how to conduct lit searches and library research prior to working on your annotated bibliography. This is a requirement of the course. Once you are ready to start working on your annotated bibliography and have an approved topic, you will need to identify a minimum of 5 library sources that are related to your topic. You have the option of choosing more than 5 resources. However, your annotated bibliography will only focus on 5 resources. If you submit an annotated bibliography with more than 5 sources, only the first 5 will count towards your grade. Of those 5 sources, 3 of the sources must be empirical, peer-reviewed research studies. That means that they must be articles that come from a peer-reviewed journal, and they are an actual research study that was conducted. Therefore, you need to make sure that the journal you're using is peer-reviewed and that the article that you're choosing is an actual research study. It's empirical. The other 2 articles that can be used can either be an edited book chapter, a literature review, or meta-analysis that's published in a peer-reviewed journal, an invited article, or a practitioner-based article that's focused on research applications. Those are the only other categories of articles you can use for the other 2 sources. So it can be a chapter in an edited book, it can be a literature review or a meta-analysis that's been published in a peer-reviewed journal. It can be an article that was an invited article or invited piece, or it can also be an article that's from a practitioner-based journal and it focuses on how to apply research findings. You cannot include reports from the internet, blogs from the internet, or any other sources that do not account for these different categories. You also cannot use the course textbook as one of your 5 required resources. You are welcome to use your course textbook for research papers. However, for your annotated bibliography, you are not allowed to use your course textbook. Now, what are the categories within an annotated bibliography? If you go to the Purdue OWL website and you search for annotated bibliographies, they do a very nice job of discussing what an annotated bibliography is. I am here at the Purdue website, and it says a bibliography is a list of sources one has used for researching a topic. So bibliographies are what we call references or works cited. In APA style, they're references, and we're using APA style in this class. And then the annotation piece is that you're providing a summary and evaluation of this bibliography. So an annotated bibliography includes both the reference itself in APA format and a summary and evaluation of the sources. For this specific assignment, you will be doing both a summary and evaluation. So you will include the 3 aspects that Purdue OWL discusses in terms of an annotation. Those include summarizing, assessing, and reflecting on your article. Once you've found your articles, you will read each article, and then for each of these articles, you will provide a summary. So you're summarizing what the main arguments are, what the point of the article is, what the findings are. After you've summarized, you'll then assess the source to determine how helpful it is. Is it useful for you? How does it compare to other sources that you've found? Do you find that the information is reliable or is it biased in some way? How does it fit within the category of ideas that you're looking to focus on for your research topic? And then finally, you want to reflect. How does it really fit into your research? How helpful is this for you? How does it help you shape your argument? How does this specific research article fit within one of the topics that you're going to be considering that'll answer your research question? For the purposes of this assignment, your annotated bibliography and your annotation will include a summary, an assessment, and a reflection. Why is an annotated bibliography helpful? Well, it helps you to prepare for writing a research paper. You're able to summarize each of the articles that you've read, which you can then use in your research paper, but you can also think about how these topics are emerging, what the research is saying, whether there's controversies in the field, whether there's opposing viewpoints, and you can really evaluate and determine how best to use each of your articles in a research paper. So the annotated bibliography will be in APA format, and Purdue OWL has an APA handout you can follow. APA periodically changes its format, and so you want to make sure that you're using the latest APA manual. And so Purdue OWL gives you a nice APA handout that provides you a summary of what it means to be APA. The annotations should be written in paragraph form, not in bullet points, and they should be anywhere from a paragraph to a page long. So let's go over the criteria for the annotated bibliography for this assignment. Again, it should be at least one paragraph in length and no longer than one full page in length. APA, the latest APA format should be adhered to. The content criteria in which we will be grading this annotated bibliography is first, research. Were the sources appropriate? Are they from the library? Do you have 3 empirical peer-reviewed research studies? And do the other 2 fit either as an empirical peer-reviewed research study or one of the other categories that I've already mentioned? Some databases you might want to look for journal articles in are EBSCO, PsycInfo, or Education Full Text. There's many different journals that are peer-reviewed, such as Child Development, Developmental Psychology, Journal of Educational Psychology, and there's other education psychology and educational psychology journals available. Again, do not use the course textbook for this assignment. And if you decide to use the ERIC database, which is available in the library, be very careful with which sources you use. If you include within your annotated bibliography a conference presentation or a conference abstract, that will not count towards one of your 5 sources. They are not acceptable references for this assignment and you will lose points. You need to make sure that if you use ERIC database that you're very careful and very mindful of which sources you're using. So reports, conference presentations, conference abstracts are not acceptable for the annotated bibliography and you will lose points. And those are often popping up on ERIC databases, so be very careful with that. You also need to limit your research to articles that are dated from 2000 to 2019. If you're using an article that's older than 2000, you really need to provide a justification for why. Research is constantly changing and constantly evolving, and so we don't want old findings, we want the latest and greatest findings. So make sure to limit your search to articles from the year 2000 on. Make sure you're not copying the study abstract and just popping that into your annotation. That's actually plagiarism, and you will get a 0 on the assignment for that. So make sure you're summarizing in your own words, you're summarizing the relevant points, as well as assessing and evaluating the usefulness of the article. How you'll be graded is on a 10-point scale. So first of all, if you have the 5 appropriate references, 3 are empirical peer-reviewed research studies and the other 2 fit into the specified categories, you'll receive 2 points. If your reference is written in APA 6th edition style or higher, you will receive an additional 2 points. If your annotation includes a summary that is concise and provides a summary of the relevant main points, you will receive 2 points. If your annotation includes an assessment and an evaluation of the usefulness of the resource in relation to the student's topic, as well as assessing its content validity, how accurate do you think it is? Was it a well-done research study? Do the findings make sense? And how does it fit within your topic in terms of usefulness? That's your assessment, and that'll be 2 points. And the final 2 points come with reflection. So how well does this actually fit within the chosen topic and in relation to the other resources chosen? So you might want to compare and contrast to some of the other resources that are in your annotated bibliography. I wanted to show you an example of a previous semester's somebody who submitted an annotated bibliography. I've removed their name for confidentiality. So the research question here was, what evidence-based practices are available to help EBD students develop self-regulation and self-monitoring skills in the elementary classroom? You'll see that this is a cover page. It's APA. So APA, you need to have a running head, self-regulation, self-monitoring in EBD, page numbers. You have your title, which is your research question centered, followed by annotated bibliography and the course number. You'll also include your name here, but I've removed the name for confidentiality purposes. Then what you'll find is each of the references for the bibliography is listed first. So you have your reference in alphabetical order, and this reference is in APA style. So you have last name, first initial, middle initial, comma, next author's last name, etc., followed by the year, the title of the article in sentence capitalization, followed by the title of the journal with each of the main first letters of each word in uppercase, followed by the issue number, the page number, and the DOI. And this is proper APA citation for a reference. After the reference, you will then include the summary. And what I've gone ahead and done here is highlighted the summary, the assessment, and the evaluation pieces that are from Purdue OWL and what's being used to grade you. So the summary, assessment, and reflection. So summary is in yellow, assessment is in green, and blue is the reflection. So that you can clearly see what it is that you need to be including in your annotation. So this first article, and this person clearly identifies that this is an empirical peer-reviewed research study and that it measured the enhancing effects of using functional behavior assessment data while creating self-management interventions. And it compared those results to 3 other variables. So it gives you a summary of some of the main things that happen in this article. It also gives you an assessment. So it's telling you that the study used this reversal design, that the results show that other methods were less effective, and that the study supports the research in that it proves that an individualized self-management approach is more effective in increasing on-task behavior than function-based consequences or self-monitoring. And make sure if you're using the word proves, because it is a experimental study. So in this case, it was an experimental reversal design so that you can use the word proves. And then finally, the reflection is it supports their argument that EBD students should have individualized interventions instead of a one-size-fits-all intervention. And it has positive impact on the school-wide tier writing interventions, especially for struggling students. So this is how it's going to fit into this person's paper, in addition to thinking about how it overall fits within the research. The next reference is then included. This is the entry number 2, and again, it's in APA style. And then the student goes ahead and provides a summary, an assessment, and a reflection. Again, I've highlighted them in yellow, green, and blue. And you'll see that in the previous one, it was very lineated, summary, assessment, reflection. And this one, the assessment is intermixed with the summary, and sometimes you'll see that happens. And then how it fits into the topic. Something the student did not do was refer back to other references that they use, but that's something I would suggest you do, is how does this reference relate to the topics that were talked about in some of the other references. And again, this was a peer-reviewed research study. And then she has her third peer-reviewed research study here. So that's 3 out of the 5 need to be peer-reviewed research studies. And they have their summary, their assessment, and their reflection. Then entry number 4, in this case, is a meta-analysis, which is appropriate for one of the other 2 types of entries. So a meta-analysis that was published in a peer-reviewed journal. And again, provide the summary, an assessment. So all the studies were peer-reviewed, methodologically sound, and when they were published, what they do that helps with the content validity of this article, and then again, how the study fits within the topic and how it's going to work within the research study. And so right here, you'll see that they go from summary to reflection back to assessment. This is entry number 5, and this one's a literature review that's published in a peer-reviewed journal. And again, they provide a summary, they provide an assessment, and they provide a reflection about how it fits within the research question. So each of these entries is about half a page to a page long and provides each of the 3 aspects of an annotation, with each annotation headed by the reference in APA style, and the references are all alphabetical. And so that student would have gotten a full 10 points on their annotated bibliography because they met each of the criteria. They fully met each of the criteria from the rubric.